G'day everybody, welcome to a new week here on the Aussie Lawn. If you're only new to the channel, welcome. My name's Brenton. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification below. I upload weekly, and feel free to write in the comment section below where you're watching from, because it's great to see where everyone's tuning in from around the world, locally, Australia, Queensland, wherever. Just chuck it in the comments. Yeah, I love seeing that sort of stuff. Well, what a week it's been here for us. We've had some fantastic rain here. We, as you saw in the intro, the Pages River, now that's normally just a quiet stream. It transformed itself within a couple of days to a raging torrent, and it connects into the Hunter River and finds its way eventually down to the ocean. So it's got a long way to go, but it's great to see. We got about 80 millimetres out of that 3-day rain event, so we're setting ourselves up for a really, really awesome spring. What's not so great though is disease again. I have been smashed with diseases this year. I think 2020 has been the year for it. Obviously coronavirus, everyone's dealing with that in their own ways, you know, etc. Poor old folks in Victoria there. Feel sorry for you guys back in lockdown again. First then I had the dollar spot second, and now Winter Fusarium, and the American guys would know it as pink snow mould, but I can assure you there is no snow here. Righto, so generally speaking, the buffalo is still holding on really, really good colour. As I said, we're still sitting on frost number 10 of the season, but if you look around, colour's holding on pretty well. There are some areas of discoloration, but that's all part of the disease. There may be a few slight little sections that have maybe had a little bit of frost damage, but certainly nothing as bad as our little control section that I'll show you now around the side here. So this is one of those areas that didn't get any of the frost protection spray, and there was no soil put there. The only soil was put further up here. So sort of from here upward was covered with the soil, but the rest of it is just frost damage. So it has knocked a bit of colour out of it. So I reckon that envy stuff is a bit of a goer. But anyway, righto, back to the Fusarium patch now. I did actually go through my old tech notes again. Some of this stuff I do have to refresh my own knowledge on. I'm honestly not a walking encyclopedia, so I did get a couple of notes I just wrote down just for some prompts to get me through this with you guys, because I'm normally just, yep, that's this, and I'm going to spray it with that. But obviously you guys want to know a little bit more, so here we go. Winter Fusarium patch, pink snow mould. Now, a lot of you guys that are looking at various YouTube channels around the world here have probably heard the American guys referring to snow mould. Well, it's actually Fusarium patch to us here in Australia, and I've got it now. Obviously, we don't get snow here, but where the Fusarium patch is in my yard, and why I've got it will become clear in a moment, because you've heard me talk about this buffalo before here. Half of it lives in the shade all winter long, so there's some reasons that it's affected the grass, and it's only affected it in those sort of areas. So this stuff can hit really hard and really quick. Now, I first noticed this 2 days, how do I put this? I backfilled the trench on the weekend, and then 2 days later, and I was travelling past this buffalo here, so I backfilled this trench on the weekend, and travelling up and down the buffalo, filling the trench up, and there was no evidence at all of any disease on this buffalo then. 2 days later, I'm checking the rain gauge up the back. I come back down through this section here just to see how everything held up after the rain, see the trenches, etc. All of a sudden, disease. Closer look, I reckon this is Fusarium patch. So, sure enough, had a quick look through my notes. Yep, Winter Fusarium. So now, where does it mostly hit? Now, mostly you're going to find this stuff in the southern states, so ideal temperatures for this sort of stuff are between 5 and 15 degrees. So it's going to favour Victoria, actually. So you guys down there are probably at a greater chance than maybe people in Queensland. And obviously situations of prolonged damp, wet periods. Now, yes, we've just had rain, but where most of my Fusarium is, which is along the shady bit, along the house, has had no sun all winter, so it's very damp there. Cool, damp condition. So, hello, here we go. Now, this stuff will also persist in organic refuge and stressed out turf. Now, you don't want to be adding any high nitrogen fertiliser at the moment at all. It's only going to make the situation worse. So, there's things like K, so potassium. If you were to add if the ground had a higher level of potassium, that can help suppress this disease, but certainly don't be adding nitrogen to this situation because it's only going to make it worse. Now, Fusarium can be anything from a few centimetres. In extreme cases, it can spread out to 2 metres. Now, this will wipe out turf, so you really got to get onto it and got to get onto it quickly. So, as I said, this stuff appeared after 2 days, and you really want to be controlling this stuff with a fungicide. So, once again, that Chief Aquaflow fungicide, which is a broad spectrum stuff, will do the trick, and obviously that's what we're going to chuck down here today. Oh wow, this is cold. Okay, before we start, it's probably worth noting that this disease is probably more prevalent in bentgrass and poa, so winter grass. So it's less susceptible to hit the warm season stuff, although there is some notes there that that indicate that you're likely to get this in shortcut kikuyu in the southern states, so around Victoria and stuff like that, and obviously here in cold, damp, shady conditions, buffalo as well. Now, it'll start off pretty small and about 5 or so centimetres. In a shortcut cool season grass, you're likely to get the mycelium that we see with the dollar spot, and also you will get a smoky ring that will develop on the outside of the disease, and it will spread. So it'll start off small and it'll spread, and you can see this one here has come around and it's travelled around here. So this stuff will go really, really quickly, so you've got to get on it, and it will catch you unawares. As I said, it was only a matter of 2 days between me having nothing here at all and having maybe a dozen patches. So we're going to treat this pretty shortly, but yeah, look, probably, I'm not really sure if you're going to have a lot of this drama in Queensland, but definitely down south and here, obviously in this constant shady area. And this is one of the reasons why I've got the buffalo, because cooch would certainly not grow here in this situation with all this shade and dampness and cold. And just looking down here on the side, it's wet. It's really wet after that rain. So yeah, let's hook. Right, so we've got that spraying done. We'll have to give that a second application, so 2 applications 2 weeks apart. So we'll keep a little eye on that one. That's about all we can talk about with the Fusarium. I mean, these sort of topics, they're kind of important, but I guess they're never really exciting. So if you stuck around this long, thank you. Let's just quickly go up the back and see how we're looking after the weed and feed test. Let's just see how it's progressing a few weeks on now, and see if it's continuing to be worth your money, your $12 for a bottle of hose-on spray. Righto, well, you can see behind me the Burr Medic there has really been affected, so it's a tick. I'm just having a look over here. So this bit here, this cape weed, it's starting to wonder if it might not just pull through, but we'll keep an eye on that one. Look, generally speaking, as I've said the first time round, it's probably not too bad. You are meant to do 2 applications of it to get a thorough coverage, so I'm probably due to spend another $12 and spray this area again and see what happens. But when we compare it to the areas that I hit with the broadside, you'll notice a vast difference with that. So we'll have a quick pan around that, and there we go. And finally, these are the areas here, this one here, that got hit with the broadside. It's worked a lot better. And again, all the clovers are, well, the Burr Medics are all very, very unhappy, which makes me very happy. Righto, and that's the end of another episode here on the Aussie Lawn. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.